Hey, welcome to the Relentless Positivity Podcast. I'm your host, Joe Martin. And I want to do something a little bit different today. So it's just me, my bald head up here. So I'm going to talk about the difference between being interested and just being committed. Because when you're interested, you'll do what's convenient. You'll make progress when it's easy, but the moment things get tough, the moment you hit the wall, that interest fades pretty fast right there. So what about commitment? It's a whole nother ball game right there. When you're committed, you show up no matter what. You find a way, even when things are inconvenient, even when motivation is nowhere to be found. You stop making excuses and start making progress. If you want real change, you've got to move past being interested and get committed. Hey, interested people might talk about what they might do. They committed people, they just take action day after day after day. So you got to ask yourself, are you just interested in your goals? Or are you ready to be committed to make them happen? Because you got to get clear on what you want and decide what you're committed to and what you're just interested in. Because that's where the magic happens. Then I went through history and went through some people who are totally committed to their goals just for my own interest and maybe for yours as well. Just kind of go with, hey, there's levels to this stuff. I'm not here, but maybe you'll get there one day. So the first one, probably the most impressive one of all three I'm going to talk about today, Werner Forssmann. This guy was the definition of commitment right here. So in 1929, he was a young surgical intern. He had this radical idea. He believed you could safely insert a catheter into the human heart for diagnostic purposes. They do that all the time now. At this time, it was not going on. But the thing was, back then, nobody believed it was possible. They thought it was extremely dangerous, thought it was stupid. All of his bosses shut him down, said, don't you dare even try it. They said it couldn't be done. So he wasn't just interested, he was committed. So what he did, he took a huge risk and performed the procedure on himself. Yep, you heard that right. He inserted a catheter into his own arm, guided it all the way up into his heart using a mirror and an x-ray machine, and he faced ridicule and rejection, didn't stop. And then decades later, he was awarded the Nobel Peace Prize for his pioneering work in heart catheterization. That's a procedure that saves lives every day right now. But in 1929, when he was doing it, it was crazy talk. So, and that's one example right there. So commitments mean, hey, you're willing to do whatever it takes to get the job done. All right. Let's talk about Marie Curie. You probably heard of her, Madam, some people call her. So she was all about being committed to science, not just interested. She was committed at a level that it's pretty hard for most people to comprehend. So what she was doing, she didn't just break through some gender barriers at the time. She smashed them, becoming the first woman to win a Nobel Prize and the only person to ever win Nobel Prizes in two different sciences, physics and chemistry, both subjects that I failed. So awesome on her. And it wasn't easy. She worked under constant discrimination, often with limited resources, but nothing could shake her commitment to her research on radioactivity. She spent years in the lab, driven by the need to discover, to understand, even though the work she was doing would ultimately cost her life from repeated exposure to radiation. It's commitment right there. You know, she gave us breakthroughs in cancer treatment and paved the way for future scientists. That's what it looks like. You stay the course even when the stakes are high and the obstacles seem insurmountable. Much like me pronouncing this next name of the example right here. Let's see. Malala Yousafzai. Well, I'm sorry if I butchered your name. You're an awesome person. My bad. I even got to run to start, man. I try to make it happen. But she's kind of just the courage in the face of danger is what I think about her. So if you want to talk about commitment, that's her. She was a teenager who was advocating for girls' education in Pakistan when the Taliban decided she was too much of a threat and needed to take her out. And they shot her in the head. Now, if she was just interested, that'd be the end of the story. But that's not it. She was committed. While she was in the hospital recovering, she continued her advocacy, speaking out even louder for the rights of girls to get an education. And today, she is the youngest recipient of the Nobel Peace Prize. And she's inspired millions around the world with her courage and conviction. When you're committed, nothing, not even being shot in the head, will stop you from moving forward. You push forward because your mission is bigger than your fear. I think that's an important point right there. So now, maybe we aren't committed on those levels. But let's ask the question, are you just committed to your goals? Are you just interested in your goals? Or are you truly committed? You know, the difference is clear. Interest is passive. It fades when things get hard. But commitment, that means showing up every day, no matter what the obstacles, no matter the risk. So what are you willing to commit to today? Hey, let's go make it happen this week. Thank you so much for tuning in. I hope you got something out of that. I had to get that off my chest. Just something I wanted to do. So thank you so much for tuning in. We'll see you next week on the Relentless Positivity Podcast.